The criminal suspect, Guo Jianjun, male, Han ethnicity, 33 years old, born on November 11, 1975. He is suspected of the following crimes: organizing and leading a triad organization, intentional homicide, intentional assault, intentional arson, intentional robbery, illegal trading and possession of firearms, intentional explosion, intentional illegal drug trafficking and possession, smuggling, molestation of women, coercing and organizing illegal gambling, extortion, bribery, illegal detention and disturbing financial order. A total of 21 charges. The evidence from witnesses and material evidence is conclusive. Following a public trial, the charges have been established. After deliberation by the collegial panel, this court hereby pronounces: the suspect Guo Jianjun is sentenced to death with lifelong deprivation of political rights. This is a final verdict and cannot be appealed. The sentence is to be carried out immediately. High People's Court of GD Province, April 4, 2008. Court is adjourned. In the solemn courtroom, the audience immediately responded with warm applause and cheers. Someone shouted, "Justice has been served." The judges on the bench exited in order. On the defendant's seat stood the accused, dressed in prison uniform with a shaved head. 2 armed police officers escorted him by the arms. Heavy handcuffs and shackles clinked on the floor as he walked. His steps were slow and heavy. Although he had been sentenced to immediate death, he showed no sign of despair. Instead, a faint smile hung on his lips. At the door, bright sunlight shone on his bald head. Guo Jianjun paused, took a deep breath, and felt a sudden warmth in his heart, as if he were reborn. Even the cold cuffs seemed to carry a trace of warmth. His eyes swept over the crowd. "That's Guo Jianjun? Doesn't look like a bad person. So young. How did he go astray?" said an old woman with white hair, squinting to see clearly the face of this notorious criminal. Others jostled for a better look. Camera flashes clicked continuously, but armed police kept everyone at a distance. Guo Jianjun bowed deeply toward the old woman. She shouted, "Child, be a good person in your next life." Guo Jianjun smiled. A police officer pushed him forward. He stumbled and stepped down. The prison van, with its rear door already open, was waiting. Several police officers shoved him inside and got in themselves. The door closed, the siren wailed, and the convoy sped out of the courthouse under the watchful eyes of the crowd. The convoy drove toward the outskirts. A middle-aged officer with a 2-bar 1-star insignia looked across at Guo Jianjun. He was a good-looking man. If not for his attire, no one would have guessed he was a death row convict. What could have led him to this point? Guo Jianjun, sensing the officer's gaze, turned and said with a smile, "Brother, can I have a cigarette?" The officer, having handled such missions before, became instantly alert. The armed guards beside him also stared at Guo Jianjun, fingers moving to their triggers. Guo Jianjun shook his head and smiled bitterly. "This isn't some Hong Kong action movie. Do you really think I could escape, or someone would break me out? This is the land of the Communist Party. No one would dare." But no one responded, their eyes still fixed on him. "It's just a cigarette. No need to be so tense." Guo Jianjun glanced at their insignia, turned to the window and sighed. "I was a soldier too. Carried a gun, earned medals, shed blood and sweat." He fell silent, eyes drifting to the passing scenery. The officer and guards were surprised. The officer's tense expression eased. The guards relaxed their grip slightly. "You were a soldier too?" "Armed police or play?" the officer asked. "Play," Guo Jianjun replied with a smile. After a brief hesitation, the officer took out a cigarette, lit it, and carefully handed it over. Guo Jianjun took a deep puff and exhaled. "I enlisted in '93, infantry, spent 3 years at the border. After retiring, I returned to my rural home. My parents were the only family. But I found out my father had died during my 2nd year in service. He didn't want to distract me, so my mother kept it from me. When I got back, my father was gone and my mother was bedridden. I only had about 3,000 yuan in savings and discharge pay. After some checks in medicine in the city, the money was nearly gone. With help from friends and villagers, I got her admitted to the hospital. But hospital fees were unaffordable for rural folks. I had to leave her with a comrade and go south to work and earn money." He puffed again, burning his fingers on the cigarette stub. A leather shoe stomped out the butt. The officer lit another and handed it over. Continue, thanks. Guo Jianjun took another deep drag and continued, I found work at a construction site through a fellow villager, carrying bricks, cement. 800 yuan a month, with food and lodging, wages paid every 6 months. Tough, but manageable. After 6 months, the building was done. But the boss disappeared. We were all outsiders. The local government said they couldn't help. Eventually, even refused us entry, so we gave up. My mother still needed surgery, so I found another site. Same story. No pay. Why didn't you file a complaint? The officer asked. Complaint? Guo Jianjun sneered. Back then, it was useless. Today's complaints exist because even the premier had to step in for unpaid workers. Back then, try it yourself. The officer looked embarrassed. He handed over another cigarette. What happened next? My mother's condition worsened. My comrade even sold his house to help, only a few tens of thousands then. Now that house would be worth 10 times more. That money soon ran out too. Then I ran into the old boss who owed me. I demanded payment, but he had thugs beat me. Enraged, I contacted old comrades. We kidnapped him and extorted $1 million. Threatened him to stay silent. He didn't dare report. You're a soldier. How could you knowingly break the law? The officer asked. But the money came too late. My mother passed away before it arrived. Guo Jianjun's voice dropped, then he turned angrily. Soldier or not, in war I'd die for my country. But what's the point if I can't even protect my parents? Look at who enjoys life in this society, ordinary soldiers or the rich. So you betray the country and harm its interests? The officer asked sharply. That's too much. I'll take every crime, but not treason. I'd rather die 1,000 times than be called a traitor, Guo Jianjun said coldly. The officer shot back. Drugs, smuggling, killing Chinese. How is that not betrayal? You don't know, Guo Jianjun barked. Today in court I admitted everything, but listen. As long as I ruled GD province, no foreign underground forces could get in. Those foreigners killed in the Walian villa were drug reps. I kept the drug trade under control. If I hadn't made that mistake, the country knew what I did. If I really betrayed the nation, I'd have been shot long ago. The soldiers didn't fully understand. The officer, now calmer, asked, Don't you regret any of it? Regret? Guo Jianjun laughed. What use is regret? Everyone in this world knows what goes around comes around. I'm just paying the price now. Reborn in 18 years, you read too many martial arts novels, the officer joked. Not too many. By the way, I know a good site for novels. Guo Jianjun smiled. Thanks, but I'm not into novels, the officer replied. The vehicle bumped. They had reached the outskirts. Guo Jianjun looked at a masked guard and asked, Is that the one to send me off? The officer nodded silently. Guo Jianjun called out, Brother! Please, make it quick and clean. No one replied. As he leaned on the van's wall, swaying, memories flooded back. Just yesterday, glory women. Now, all gone, he softly sang. The stars of last night have fallen, vanished in the distant galaxy. The vehicle slowed to a halt. Guo Jianjun was dragged out. He looked up, dark clouds covered the sky, thunder rumbled. After some coordination between police and military, he was pushed to the execution site. The executioner loaded the bullet, aimed and touched the trigger. Suddenly, boom! A bolt of lightning struck from above. Guo Jianjun, eyes closed, suddenly looked up. A purple lightning bolt hit him directly. His body convulsed and went limp. His scorched body collapsed. Everyone was stunned. The commander signaled the medic to check. After a while, the medic stood and shook his head. He's dead. Standing over the charred body, the gun murmured, Executed by law. Not lightning.